Hello everyone and welcome back to the Who's He podcast with me, Phil.
Me, Scott.
And on this episode, we're of course giving our knee-jerk reaction to the final episode, episode 5 of The War Between the Land and the Sea, titled The End of the War.
Yes.
Which wasn't on the screen at all, actually. So, Scott, what did you think? What's your immediate thoughts on this one, then?
It was a mid-episode, I'd say.
Mid-episode?
It was a mid-episode. And I said that, I know there's lots of mysteries tied up behind, the Rusty Davis era and whatnot, and, in Season 2. But this left quite a few stuff open, and I don't think it's going to be one of those things that if they go into a new writer, it's going to be, and that's the Timeless Child where it's kind of easy to think of what would happen. It's very sort of one-off characters, and there's a bunch of things that they've left open with those characters, which I don't know if we're going to get the answer to.
Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know what they're gonna do because there was the whole Kate. There's this whole Kate thing at the end where she goes crazy and is
Well, do you want to talk about that first?
Pick up a bottle.
Yeah, do you want to talk about that first? Because that I don't know if that was Kate having a bit of PTSD. That was kind of, 'cause she had that scene with the psychiatrist, and she just wanted to be given more sort of drugs to keep going. So maybe that was PTSD threatening the man. You don't know. I mean, did she shoot him? Or not? It's a bit of a cliffhanger. I don't know actually. She's going to get reported. She get drummed out of unit.
Well, she is the head of unit, so she can.
Yeah, so I guess it is a bit of a plot thread left, really. But what about the actual main plot? Because that the whole series was called The War Between the Land and the Sea. There wasn't a lot of action war-wise, was there? It was a war in a different aspect, I suppose. I mean, they were, melting the ice caps in this episode, weren't they? And Tide was taking no prisoners. Then we had the whole thing with the virus being released, which was the payoff to the eggs being sampled. Salt's eggs being sampled at was it the first or second episode? I can't remember what it was now.
First episode, the cliffhanger for the first episode, I believe.
Yeah, so that kind of paid off, but it just sort of went out with a bit of a whimper. Really, it wasn't. We all guessed that, Barclay was going to go off with Salt at the end.
Turn into a fish.
Yeah, and it was all sort of signposted all the way through, like he's saying his legs were hurting and he's rash on his neck and all that. He kept rubbing his neck, and so it's kind of obvious that there were going to be gills are going to grow on his neck. There were no surprises, I don't think.
The whole accord thing didn't make very much sense.
The what, sorry? The
accord.
Accord.
I don't get that.
Well, accord. That kind of happened with Barclay turning into one of them, really. But there were so many things left unanswered. I mean, why did Salt change into a male when she got angry? That was never explained. Who were those coelacanth-like fish? Were they some sort of higher being? Again, it was never explained. Why were there different species?
And why was there a second ambassador who could turn anything into rust?
Yeah, that again, it just sort of came to nothing. Because the last week, that was the threat of turning everything to rust. But then this week, the threat was, we're going to melt the ice caps instead. Yeah, so there was sort of things introduced, and there was no real sort of payoff in the end for my liking, actually. So, I mean, it was entertaining enough, but I don't think it made a lot of narrative sense, really. Not to me, anyway. I mean, what about you? Do you think it made sense in the end?
I didn't get it.
No, because I just think it was like a sequence of events that really didn't sort of connect, and then it just sort of ended, and that was it, really. Yeah, I was a bit. Would you say you were disappointed?
Disappointed because the ending was good because he got his happy ending, I guess.
I guess so. Well, he did leave his daughter behind though, and that was a bit. But I don't suppose he had any option because he was turning into a
fish,
into a sea devil. But I don't, or Homo aqua. But I don't know when that was supposed to have. When was his DNA changed, or was it when he kissed Salt? Was something when they did the dirty last week?
Oh.
Yeah, so I don't know. Is that how it happened? I don't I don't really know. It's all a bit strange, really. I don't really get it. I can understand when the virus was introduced, because that's when they broke into his mate, knocked him out.
The virus makes the most sense out of everything.
Yeah.
But they didn't answer actually stop Severance or get them arrested or threat them or something.
Well,
because when they settled the virus, they knew it was Severance, but didn't do anything.
No, exactly. Yeah, it was all a bit. I mean, Unit. I don't know. The same thing with. I mean, it's all very, very. Children of Earth, Tortured Children of Earth. And also the way it didn't. I don't know. Sort of for me, didn't hang together. It was sort of things were introduced and dropped, and then other things were introduced in its place, and they didn't go anywhere either. Reminded me of Miracle Day, because that was my main frustration with that. It was 10 parts, and nothing hung together. It was all, different each week.
There was so much time.
Things were dropped. Yeah, exactly. So it didn't work as a serial, and I don't think this worked either to a certain degree. It was just sort of there.
Well,
really.
I think that
it's a shame, because the first 2 episodes are really quite good. I thought, actually.
And although the acting's been very strong throughout every episode. At least with the main
I thought
actors.
Gugu Mbatha-Raw was very good as Salt.
Because you know the fact that most...
I didn't like Russell Tovey. Not Tony, Tovey. Because it's just some of his line readings. He's like that. He's like,
yeah, but I think it
a bit
suits,
whiny.
I think it suits
my voice broken.
I think it suits his character a bit, though. He doesn't know clue what's going on most of the time.
But he didn't really do it. I mean, Salt... once she came out of the water and just became, Russell Tovey's... I'll say girlfriend, but what partner we're going to call it. She lost all her edge at that point. She was quite an edgy character, and she just lost it at that point.
By episode 4, she lost everything all of her character.
Yeah, and then she kind of got it back at the end, saying, you've won. But what the virus they introduced is in the water, so it will come back to. Because viruses mutate and everything, so it will get... And that whole thing about the...
it'll kill...
the Prime Minister... Well, that's one thing I didn't quite get. Is it showing a glimpse into the future that the Prime Minister will drown in the shower when he's full of water, and then the French Major and the German... not German General, the American General are going to drown in the car. Is that like what could happen or will happen? I wasn't entirely.
Well, I thought that was
certain.
An imagination of what might happen to them, not will or could. What they think's going to happen to them.
That's a good. Yeah,
because we panned. They moved the camera over to them, and then they did sort of like the turned off, and then he started throwing out water, and he moved over to the French lady, and then you see her and the general in the car like drowning.
Yeah,
I think that's what she thinks going to happen. To them,
maybe.
Or they think it's going to happen to them.
But oh well, yeah. So yeah, just a few things. Okay, if you're gonna do it, be clear. I like the whole thing with Barclay turning into a Homo Aqua, whatever it was. Again, it was just done with music, no dialogue.
No.
And you had to sort of guess what was happening. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it worked for some people. It didn't work for. It didn't work for me, I'm afraid. It really didn't.
I think it just kind of ended up turning into a love story, and then there was just Kate losing her mind by the end of it.
Well, yeah, it became sort of like a personal thing between it. It wasn't. It started out as quite a global
impact,
and then with all rising out of any water. It wasn't necessarily the sea. They come out of the Thames.
Although to be fair, in episode 5 they did go back to the island that they went on in the first episode. Not go back, but there was shots when they
from around the world. But the global aspect of it. It disappeared midway through the story, didn't it?
But we can't really complain about that, because that does happen in old Doctor Who as well, because everything's kind of like it's for UK audiences really, so everything happens in the UK and you see more of the UK than anywhere else.
That's fine, but what it needed was some dialogue or something to say about the global impact a bit more, and it didn't really.
Well, I guess the global impact was the ice, the sea levels. And
it was, but again, it was sort of remembered in the last episode, if you said, because episodes 3 and 4 didn't really have that, did it? You didn't have all the global newscasts and everything. But the one thing we picked up on though was the fact that he drove to Herne Bay from London to go into the water to shout out to Salt. Herne Bay most certainly does not have beaches like that. It's all pebbles. They're all like pebble beaches in Herne Bay.
Nice try, but
Yeah, nice try,
Do it
but
again,
that
try
was
again.
completely wrong.
that was horrendous. How dare you?
Oh dear. And actually, it's not on the English Channel. It's actually the Thames Estuary, Herne Bay. So they said it was in the Channel, but it wasn't. I mean, I suppose you could technically say it is the English Channel, but it's actually classed as the Thames Estuary. There you go.
Doctor Who, what are you doing?
What you doing? But only reason we know that because we go to Herne Bay quite a bit.
I guess it was
don't we?
too busy for them to film.
It
Probably
was
some random
yeah,
beach in
yeah.
Wales.
They're just me being ultra picky there, actually. But yeah, but apart from that, I just thought it was a bit of a letdown. But the thing is, it's not just the last episode of this series. It's the last episode of anything new Doctor Who related we're going to get for at least another year, and it was also the last of the Disney content as well. And far as we know, Disney haven't announced when this is going to arrive on Disney Plus. Yeah, it's all a bit of a mystery, really, when the rest of the world's going to get to see this on official channels, put it that way. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe if word of mouth gets around. I mean, lots of people have liked this.
Yeah.
But
it is good. It's just not brilliant.
It's not brilliant, no. And I think that's what I think people are hoping this is going to be the thing that's going to save the Doctor Who universe, and I don't think it has.
I actually think it's. Everybody was like, they were not. A lot of people weren't happy with the Shooty Get era, but honestly, I would. Happily,
you liked it, didn't you?
I'd happily go back and watch all of his episodes and watch this again, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
I preferred that. That was actually really enjoyed.
Yeah,
that
it
era.
tried to be. And also the bit you didn't. I've talked about the bit at the beginning with the dogs. They ate all the dogs.
Yeah. Nothing happened from that.
Yeah.
Why they eat all the dogs?
And the other thing, we're assuming that Tide died
in the virus.
in the virus, but again, it was. We didn't know. Nothing was confirmed. You just thought, well, okay, maybe there was no. They introduced him as a character, and then he just disappeared. I just found that a bit weird. If you introduce him, then they show him like turning up to the meeting with all the heads of state or whatever, the representatives looking a bit sick or they're covered in barnacles or whatever. I just found.
But no, they died in like seconds, didn't they? Once he went in the virus, they died overnight, so there wouldn't have been one anyway.
All they showed was the what we will call a sea devil, not a Homo aqua. So we didn't actually. We don't know how many Homo aqua there were, do we? Sort of like the. Oh, I don't know. There were.
How come the virus didn't kill Salt first if she was the first one to come in contact with?
Well, I'm gonna say maybe she was asymptomatic, so maybe it was just a case of that she was just a carrier.
Maybe.
Because it killed off 80% or something like that.
There was only like 10 of them were left or something.
10% of the population were left. Yeah,
of
all of them. Yeah. It was quite striking seeing them all floating in the water. It certainly was.
It was one of those interstellar song contest things where they all rise up in the air, just silence.
Yeah.
And they all just rise. That was.
I suppose you could say. The bad guys won in this, really, didn't they? The pollution's still going to happen.
And
I suppose
we're
it's
the
the
bad
only way.
guys.
Yeah.
We're supposed to make the Sea Devils Homo Aqua look bad, but.
Yeah, you couldn't really.
We're the bad guys.
I know you you were sort of kind of.
And it comes full circle at the end as well, where they offer them like the tiniest percentage of the sea. They're like, it doesn't matter anymore. It just kind of shows that the human race,
it would just be a hunting ground.
Yeah,
and they showed that photo of one of
Of
those
the fish.
coelacanth fish things being captured. Yeah. But anyway, it's just meant to be a lot of initial reactions to it. So how would you rate this one, Scott? What's your score?
I'll do a 5.
A 5. Okay.
I was happy with some things, like the post-credit scene. I think that was actually quite interesting, but it doesn't deserve
anything more than that. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with a 5 as well. Actually, actually no. To tell you what, I want to go with a 6 because I think it was better than last week's 2 episodes, which I rated as a 5 combined. I think this was a better episode, but it was just it was a bit rushed.
I think maybe it could have done with some longer time, even an extra 5 minutes just to make it an hour long could have worked.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just could have done 6 episodes instead of 5. I don't know why they did 5, not 6. So random.
Yeah.
Anyways,
It was a bit random.
I think that.
Well, I don't think it was random. I think they had it in mind. They were going to show it on 5 consecutive nights.
but it didn't.
And they
work.
didn't. No, it didn't. So it looked like they just sort of rushed it
They were
out.
going to go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday kind of thing. I think that. What do you think after seeing this? Do you think Pete McTighe would still be a good showrunner? Considering that we're both kind of... I related the episodes highly last week, but you go back and watch this and you realise that the two last week weren't as high. So would you actually put Pete McTighe as showrunner from what... Because after...
I'm undecided.
After Rusty Davis stopped writing through the first half, it kind of went from there. The characters and stuff.
Yeah, I'm half decided on that, actually.
Because he writes good stuff, but it's kind of like...
Well, when he writes good, so he writes good, but it goes from
doesn't.
one extreme to the other. Yeah.
Look,
Praxis, awful. Kablam was awful.
Kablam was okay until we got to the ending. I suppose.
It fudged the whole message.
But you look at Lucky Day, and that's really good. So maybe he just...
Yeah.
I don't really
know.
Maybe he's just good.
Jury's out for me.
I don't know.
The jury is out.
And same thing, collection box sets are good. I think he maybe just certain things he writes better, like character drama rather than global drama. Maybe.
So, well, there we are. That's what we thought. So that's it for Doctor Who content for 2025, and well, until Christmas 2026. That's when we get a Doctor Who Christmas special. So we've got a very, very long time to wait for that. So yes, we have to bide our time doing other things. So, anything else to add, Scott, before we close this off?
No, but it seems like we're going to be running on Random Who and Big Finish for a while.
Big Finish and God knows what next year. So anyway, Paul and I, we may be back to talk about this in more detail between the war between the land and the sea in the new year. Maybe in between Christmas and New Year. Not too sure at the moment yet, but I think it's looking more like it'll be in the new year. But before then, on Christmas Eve, we've got an episode of Who's Here at the Movies. We'll be dropping. Then that will be that for that particular strand for this year. But so we might be back before the year is out, but I doubt it at the moment. I think that's probably going to be it. So, I'm going to wish people Merry Christmas on because the next episode's out on Christmas Eve. So I should wish people Merry Christmas then. Do you want to wish people a Merry Christmas now, Scott?
Yes, and I will actually see you next year.
Next year, indeed.
I probably mid-January or something. I don't know.
Okay. So until everybody, bye for now.